Greetings everyone. Thank you for watching another video on this YouTube channel. Today we are here just to see a really interesting product. If you remember, a few months ago I demonstrate how to deploy Red Hat Enterprise Virtualization, or in that case I was using just the open source version called Ovirt. So on that video we deployed it from scratch, and we did use, on my case I was just using nested virtualization on top of VMware. But anyways, I just wanted to show you the step-by-step to get the Ovirt cluster up and running. So we have really good news because during the latest Veeam on update, it was announced the Veeam backup for Red Hat Virtualization. It's still in public beta, so it's really good. You can grab it from the website and you can download it and install it for free. But just bear in mind that it is still in beta, and everything that you might find, like improvements or any functionality that is not working as expected, please go to the forum, to the Veeam forums, and post it there. So on this video, we are going to deploy it from scratch. We are going to see some tips and tricks, and as well we are going to follow just the official Veeam documentation to try to follow the steps as well as if we were new within the product, because we are. I have not deployed before, so let's go and do it together. As I did mention before on the video about Ovirt, or around the Red Hat virtualization itself. So why Red Hat virtualization? Red Hat virtualization, you just Google it right now, Red Hat virtualization or Ovirt, and take a look into the latest images of the product. You will see a really mature product that it does pretty much everything that you're looking for in on a virtualization product. So you can just create virtual machines, you can do snapshots, you can use templates, multi-tenant, everything really that you need for at least for the basics of virtualization. Of course, using the Ovirt itself, completely free. Using the Red Hat virtualization, it has a cost, but as you can imagine, it will be less cost than other vendors doing virtualization. So I think for cost reduction, Red Hat virtualization, it's a good candidate to take a look into, try to reduce the cost of a commodity as it is virtualization today, because in every company we have more or less virtualization. So with that small comments around the why of this virtualization itself, the open source virtualization, let's take a look and deploy everything from scratch together as if it was our first time, because again I'm saying that it really is. So let's go ahead, and then you will see on here. So I just went to Google, I just put Veeam Red Hat virtualization. You can see the website, very nice, it's there, it's official. We can see that is to download the public beta. Okay, let's take a look at the diagram, the VBR, the repos, the proxy, and the Ovirt endpoint on top of the RHV cluster. Okay, very good. I just downloaded, so now I went into the user guide, which you can find there. Quick overview on here once again. You can create backups, you can restore VM's backups, and you can restore VM's disk. Another quick look at the diagram itself, so we can see all the components on here. This diagram, it's a bit better than the one from the main site, or at least it's more technical. System requirements, required permissions on Red Hat and on the Veeam backup repo itself, used ports, and the licensing as well. Take a quick look here into the deployment, and you can see that we need to install the Veeam server, configure the backup repo. So I think it's a good moment now to go into the Veeam backup and replication server and configure one of the repositories to allow this product. So it's as easy as pick one of them, go to access permissions and allow to everyone, or at least allow to the users that you want, just allow to everyone, and that will allow me to put backups of agents or backups of this Veeam backup for Red Hat Virtualization. I've downloaded already the zip file from the website. Remember that this is a beta, and it's telling us here that we can use PSCP directly from PowerShell to move the the ISO, to move the OVA into the cluster. So I think I'm going to use it. Let's take this line over here, and then let me take a quick look here into the downloads. I have here the file, so I'm going to put it here on the Veeam backup and replication server itself. So I just got it to my computer. Let's move it into the Veeam server itself, and from the Veeam server now, okay, let's extract it. And inside the folder we have an OVF and a VMDK, so that's good. Now, okay, what is telling us here is use the PSCP. I'm going to copy this, going over here, take a look here. You need to download the PSCP, so I'm just going to download it here. It's a part of the PuTTY program. Probably you're using PuTTY or PuTTY, so I'm just going to download the PSCP from here, 64. I am going to download and put it usually maybe in the downloads folder, so that's okay. Let me go into the downloads folder, and let's use the line to go into just to put those files into the cluster, the OVIRT host itself. You do not need to put this on the OVIRT manager. You need to add it into one of the OVIRT hosts. So that is quite important. So later on, what you do on the SSH finally is, okay, do I have the images here? Yes, I have them on my root folder. So I'm going to move these files into one of the shared folders that I have already, another images and ISOs and so on, into the Veeam folder itself, Veeam RHV. And now that I move these files outside of root, I'm going to do the chmod, changing the permissions on these two files. And I move it outside of root because if you keep it in root, it didn't work for me before. So I was trying it while I was doing this video, and I faced some problems. So for that reason, I'm just following right now. What we follow right now is one of my attempts of deploying this without facing those problems. Okay, so I'm changing the permissions here to 755. And finally, I'm going to change as well the owner and the group or to 3636 of these specific two files from here. Quite simple. Those two commands are as well. Let me do as well like an ls to check those two files. They are under VDSM and under KVM. So very good. Let's go now into the Open Virtualization Manager. Let's go into VMs. Let's import it. Let's say that is an OVA, and take a look into that path that you selected. You can use the long path or you can use the short path as well, because I just have that mounted both ways. Anyways, you can just move it here and select next. You can see now the VM, probably properties. And if you click here, you can change the name of the VM that you are going to deploy. Remember, you are deploying this from a template. Here is called kind of like an import virtual machines more than templates itself. So I'm just selecting Veeam, RHV, and then I just kept everything. Bear in mind, this has 4 gigabytes of RAM and 4 CPUs as well. So you need to have at least that capacity inside your OVIRT cluster. So that's good. You can go into the tasks and see what is happening here. This took me around 5 to 10 minutes to complete all of this import and convert the VM from the OVA, from the OVF, but I just accelerated a bit the process. So once again, you do not need to watch all this process of the importing the VM inside your environment. So with that being done, now we can go into the VM itself and just click run, and the VM is going to run. You can open the console. You will probably need to download one of the one package to open this file, but it will appear to you if it's the first time you're downloading or you're opening the console from an overt VM. Okay, so it's telling me here an IP. First time it might take between 5 to 10 minutes to get that IP, but you will see this window. So 192.168.1224. Let's open a new tab here. And now, okay, minimize this. Let's go over here. First time it's Veeam, nothing difficult. Let's select install. Now we are applying or installing the proxy. Click next. Let's put here like a new password and confirm the new password. This proxy on top of Red Hat Virtualization, it's pretty similar of what it's the proxy for Nutanix Acropolis as well. So probably if you have deployed that before, you will see the similarities. Okay, let's select that host name and this IP address. You should have this DNS already created before you do any of this. It's completely recommended to have this DNS already created. The FQ then pointing to that IP and have the reverse DNS as well up and running. Okay, my DNS servers, and finally my search domain, jorgedelacruz.es. That's my internal DNS name as well. Okay, let's click in finish, and now it says that it's going to redirect me, but that's one of the things didn't work. So I'm just going to open another tab with a new IP, username Veeam, password, your new password. Very good. We are inside the dashboard. Let's go into settings, manage backup server. Here we need to add the I'll point to the FQ then of our Veeam server, in my case Veeam VVR jorgedelacruz.es, description, whatever description you want to add here, and then finally a username and password that it has access into the server itself and into these repositories. Remember that we open before to everyone, but if you want to tailor this a bit more, you just need to select here limited kind of a limited scope user. Anyways, it's telling me that I have the version 11a and manage virtualization manager. Now you need to add your overt or your Red Hat virtualization cluster on here, so that's fine. The description is my FQ then is overt engine nested. Remember, I just deploy everything on a nested environment. That's my description. Overt cluster, that sounds good. Username, it will be any username inside that internal kind of SSO that overt has. You can find that on my previous video. Let's accept the SSL certificate warnings. It's available, and I have the version 4.4.6. That's my overt cluster. Appliance settings. Well, you have here if you can create a config backup, for example. Quite useful if you are going to make any change on the proxy itself. You can just create a config backup, your networking, your security, time zone. Probably, I think the time zone is all right. I'll probably just point to one of my NTPs, which is my Active Directory. You can find these steps on the blog as well. I've done that once before, how to create an NTP quickly on your Windows. Finally, we go into the VMs. I don't have any protected VM, as you can see on here. So let's go into jobs and let's create a new backup job. So let's call RHEV backup Red Hat virtualization. And let's now point to the VM or VMs or DAC that we want to select. Just one, my repo. I can see two of them. I'm going to put here like maybe 30 points. That's okay. And select here to create a full backup on the Saturdays. That's perfectly fine to me. Click OK. Now we go into next. Now we'll run the job automatically. probably around 8 p.m. might be good enough for me and my environment, not 8 a.m., 20 hours. And I select next and then run the job, and I click finish, and the job should start to run right now. So let's take a look here what is happening. You will be able to see the job here on the backup jobs here running. You will be able as well to see on the Veeam backup and replication console as well. So okay, let's accelerate this process a bit. This backup took me around, I don't know, we'll see at the end, but a few minutes, because the VM is not big and it's not really big, it's just an Nginx. The first backup is an active full, so it just took some minutes, but not much, because the size of the VM it's quite small. So I'll say that the performance wise was really decent. As you can see there, like around 72 megabytes per sec. So it's not megabits, it's megabytes per sec. Can be probably better. Of course, in production, this is going to be much better. Remember, everything I do here, I show you on here. It's just on my lab. So as you can see, it's going to finish in around, what, 8 minutes, 8 to 9 minutes, 8 minutes, 39 seconds. So that was quite decent. And then the next one, it will be an incremental, and it will be really, really fast. So if I go now into my jobs backup, there you go. I have here the job itself, and the backups disk. I can see now the point in time as well. And what can I do? Right click. I can recover this into vSphere or Nutanix AHV or in Hyper-V. I don't have any Hyper-V, but I can do restore cache files from this Linux VM or Windows VM. And if I trigger this, I just wanted to show you like a file level recovery of any of those VMs. One of the things that it's really interesting from the Veeam backup and replication server, it's the ability to recover what it was Linux or a Red Hat virtualization VM. You can recover that quickly into VMware, AHV, or into Hyper-V. My guess is that at some point it will you'll be able to recover as well back into Red Hat virtualization directly from the console of the Veeam backup and replication console, but hopefully we will see that in future releases. Of course, you can restore back into Red Hat virtualization from the proxy. We will see that in a minute. So let's take a quick look here. That's the file level recovery. Nothing interesting. We can go here into Opera, recover anything that we want, really. We can restore to Amazon EC2, Azure, or Google Cloud Platform Engine. And now here from the console itself, from the Veeam backup for Red Hat virtualization, you can of course restore VM or VMs back into Red Hat virtualization. Of course, you can restore to a new location, to the same location, different name, same as I'm doing here, changing the storage container, changing the networking, and so on and so forth. So under events, you will see everything that is happening. The dashboard is really, really fresh, and you can see the latest status on the jobs, the latest status of the VMs, how many you have protected, how many not, and of course the history of the job as well. It's very easy to access directly from here. So I think that's everything from today's video. I hope you like and you enjoy this walkthrough, this installation from scratch, from the very beginning. Downloaded it from the website, uploading the image back into the host, into the Red Hat virtualization host, and from there adding it as a template, and from the template deploying the proxy, configuring it, and running our first backup job and triggering some restores from Veeam backup and replication console and from the Veeam backup for Red Hat virtualization itself. So 2 ways of restoring data, really, really powerful. If you or your business or your customers or your partners have choose Red Hat virtualization, that's good. That's a great choice. Now you have a reliable backup product as it is Veeam to protect that environment as well. So give it a try. Feedback is really important, especially now, which is still on the beta, on the public beta phase. Always really good to get as many comments as possible on the forum. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if that's so, leave here some comments, and well, yeah, I'll see you in another video. Thanks. Bye.